about this for weeks on the show at a time, that they call lightning in a bottle when the original Hurt Business. That's something that I'm not sure if it could be replicated again, because how many times did DX come back? How many times did the Shield come back? Never quite hit the same. Now, as far as their contracts not being renewed, that just seems to be a Triple H thing. And he's handling this the way sports teams do, specifically like the NFL. Like we had Edge contract come up, and in sports, it's like, okay, you're getting older. We can give you this deal. You can agree to these terms, but this is it, because you have to make way for the newer talent. So for sports references, we see this, like I'll use the example for the Eagles. The Eagles, they do a really good job at not letting their emotions get in the way of the business. So they've let their veterans walk. They've let Deuce Staley walk, Troy Vincent, Brian Dawkins, for example. Those are guys off the top of my head that have gone off to other places at a certain age because they not get their emotions invested into their business decisions. Now, Bobby Lashley, we love Bobby Lashley, but he, at this point, I think we could agree that his peaked a long time ago, and anything else is probably not going to be his peak. And with the whole MVP thing, we kind of saw the writing on the wall when Vince was gone, because we know that whole pairing with Omos was a Vince thing. Vince likes those big, tall attractions, and MVP was paired with Omos. And then even like the match with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, Vince was still around. Well, that's when Vince got himself back into the company. And even like Ronda said, yeah, like, don't believe that. Like, Vince was there. He, like, Bruce Pritchard was his puppet for the most part. So we always knew like Omos was a Vince thing. So when Vince was completely gone, you barely saw Omos on TV, and him and MVP were the pairing. Yeah. And him and MVP were the pairing. So like I said, they handle Edge pretty much the same way. It's like, look, if you want to stay, this is what we could do. This is what we could offer for you. But this is it. You know, we have to move on and possibly make waves for the next crop of superstars. So as far as them leaving, well, Lashley potentially even an MVP leaving, those are my thoughts on it.
So I see all three of these. Like, again, I'm not saying Edge was that third person, but in the scenario of Edge, MVP, Lashley, I think of all of them as very different. I think Lashley and MVP, obviously their careers, simultaneous, whether it be late Ruthless Aggression, they did stuff in Indies, TNA together, come back, get paired together, start the Hurt Business, split up, feud, etc., etc., etc. Maybe I misread it. I was under the impression it wasn't necessarily them re-signing. Their contracts getting renewed. I thought they don't want to re-sign. Now, again, go ahead.
The way I interpret it was the way like Edge and Ricochet. I'm not well. Ricochet is a little different. Ricochet chose not to re-sign, but yeah. I viewed it as like the contract's not being. Well, Edge got a contract offer, but like I said, it's like they can offer you a contract, but in that contract, they're saying you, this is the role, this is what we're offering you, and this is what it'll be. Now, the money might not be right, the position might not be right, but that's the contract, and that is the offer. So who knows? There might have been a contract offer in them, but they're just choosing not. WWE might not. There might be a contract offer, there might not be. But WWE moving on, I'm not 100%.